Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rappler Talk. I am your host, Naveen Ganglani, and today we are privileged to have a very special guest on, Mr. Mason Amos, part of the Gilas Pilipinas national team, seniors team, may I add, at the age of 18 years old, and also an incoming recruit for the Ateneo Blue Eagles. I would even say, Mason, probably the most anticipated recruit coming in UAAP season 86 this year. Mason, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us today,
I'm
buddy.
good. Thank you for having me.
How are you feeling, man? I mean,
Uh,
yeah.
Feeling great. Just been training a lot. So getting used to uh, the basketball here. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, now that you're officially a member of Gilas Pilipinas, and by the way, a an honor that I would say was well deserved given how you played in the recent FIBA Asia qualifying window. How does it feel? Do you walk around now kind of with the sense of, you know what, I belong here?
Well, yeah. I'm still humble about it, of course, but at the end of the day, like I still feel like I can play with the Gilas seniors because I know there was a lot of criticism around if I can hang out with the big boys, but I feel like I proved it.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's get right into it because your debut with Gilas was very impressive, particularly in that second half against Lebanon. You know, I remember a play. Now, you made a bunch of three pointers, you had a nice floater, but one play I remember specifically, and I'm sorry to bring this up
It's
by
all
the
right.
way, was you were guarding an opposing big man in the post, and you get the classic shoulders slash elbow nudge, and you fall to the ground, and the guy scores, and then I was like, oh man, like I like Mace. I'm so I'm not sad, of course, because it's
Yeah.
basketball, but I'm like, I wish that didn't happen to him. But then you come back right away, you hit a few threes, and you make a floater, like I said, and you prove you belong.
Yeah.
Did that little moment there kind of like ignite something in you?
Yeah. So when I fell on the ground, I didn't think about it too much because I knew that the next possession really matters if I'm gonna be able to prove myself because that was a possession that really was like a bit of a downfall moment.
Right.
But after that, when I hit my first shot, bounced in, felt great. It was like a flip of the switch. Like I'm gonna start making my shots.
Yeah,
And then
definitely.
yeah,
The way it bounced in, it was like, okay, that's probably a sign that instead of like things going a little bad,
yep,
it's starting to go a little good. But let's backtrack a bit. Leading up to that game, you know, like you mentioned, there was some I wouldn't say criticism, but discussions in terms of okay, Mason is, you know, in basketball terms, he's a kid, right? You're not a kid, but like in terms of playing in the seniors division, that's maybe how some people would look at you.
yep, yep,
I'm not sure if anyone called you Rook on that Gilas team, but then they would have
yep,
probably been justified to do so.
yep.
So, what was going through your mind, like spiritually, mentally, as you're preparing yourself for arguably the biggest basketball adventure of your career? Were you anxious, or did you feel like, you know, I was always meant for this?
A bit of both. So I always felt like this is what I was meant to become as a player. I was anxious, of course, nervous coming into the my debut, but like I felt like I had confidence. I also had confidence inside me. It was just a matter of the adrenaline kicking in, and that led to my performance.
You know, those practices leading up to the game, I'm sure those were amazing because you were with some of the guys you saw in college, like Jerome, Shawnee, and Kevin, of course. So you were with players in the same level as you, I would say. But then you're going up against guys like Justin Brownlee, you know, Scotty Thompson, the Ravenna brothers, Jordan Heading, Jamie Malonzo. I can go on and on about all these talented standouts on the team. What was that experience like? What did you learn? And were there particular teaching moments that humbled you and made you realize I still have so much room to grow?
Yeah. Playing with like players like that, Brownlee, there was a lot of times where Brownlee and Kiefer would give me some pointers. Brownlee specifically being where to go on my shots, where to take shots from, the right shots to take, and that really helped me on my pick and pops, all that type of stuff. Kiefer was really like the confidence booster type of guy. It really pushed me to become a better player. Same with the coaches. Coach Tim,
Mm.
he would always give me confidence to take a shot. He would always compliment my shot, and like of course, like he's been doing past couple months. Um, and yeah, that really it boosted my confidence.
Yeah, you seem like the kind of big man Coach Tim would like to have in his team down the line. What was that like? Just being around the GOAT. I mean, that they call him the GOAT for a
Yeah.
reason, right?
Well, having being coached by great coaches like Coach Chot, Coach Tim, Coach Tab, being around all of them, I'm learning a lot. But for Coach Tim to really compliment my game, it really helped me be more confident than I already was in taking my shots and to try and prove my worth in the Gilas team.
Does Coach Tim like to joke every now and then? Maybe.
Yeah,
make
especially defensive wise.
Right.
He's a really good defensive coach, so little things he'll pick out.
Awesome. Now, that first game against Lebanon was very impressive. You guys, the Philippines, came out just hot off the gates. It felt like every 3-point shot you would take as a team would go in because the quality of looks were so good. Open shots, kickouts, extra passes, Brownlee penetrating, And then you went a little cold middle to stretch and picked it back up in the second half. And after the contest, I remember I had a moment with you, and you were just like, "Wow, I am so emotional right now." And of course, it's understandable why you were. But in your own words right now, when you look back on it, what was that moment like for you?
It was probably the greatest experience of my basketball career. Like, even though I only just started, really, it was the greatest moment that I've had in a while because to think that I was dreaming of playing for the seniors team and then being able to suit up, especially so young, and hitting my first shot, like as soon as I saw it go through the hole, I was happy, man.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am. Now, I hate to bring this up, but as good as the start against Lebanon was, it was the complete opposite against Jordan. And, I didn't really think you guys would come in overconfident based on the last game, but it felt like to some degree, Gilas was a little bit surprised. Oh, what was working so well in the last game suddenly wasn't working so well against Jordan. And it took you guys some time to adjust to what they were playing and how to pick up the pace and everything.
Yeah.
But in your words, as a basketball player, what really went wrong in that first half?
I feel like fatigue. I think rest was a big part of our team. And I feel like some of us didn't really get the rest that we needed. And I think mentally, they weren't really locked in. As a team, we weren't really locked in. We were so focused on that, we beat Lebanon. We didn't really have that mindset going into the game. Well, Jordan's a really good team. We really need to play 110% from the start. And it showed. I know we had a really good comeback, but we shouldn't have been in that scenario in the first place.
Do you feel like Jordan as a team noticed that maybe you weren't taking them as seriously as you did Lebanon?
If I'm honest, our team actually took them more seriously in terms of the scout because they had a lot of bigger players. Like, I know Lebanon didn't have Arakji, and that was a big loss for them. But having Dwyer was out, so we only heard about that just before the game, and we scouted a lot on him. So it really changed the way we looked at the game. So then our focus moved on to the point guard, Ibrahim, and he still went off against us at the start, and that really, we didn't have any confidence after they put 15 points on us straight away in the first 2 minutes.
Right.
So we tried to find a spark, and eventually Brownlee gave us that spark. He was the one that really kept us in the game.
Yeah, that's when a basketball player is just really good, where he could be the focus of the scouting report and still just ball out, right? And I'm sure you're gonna get to that point at a certain stage in your career. But about Brownlee, I know as a teammate, when you're watching him go off like that, you're like, okay, keep it going. Let's get back in the game, give us a chance to come back. But as a basketball fan, what's it like watching a savant like him just go to work?
Oh, man, it's inspirational, man. Even being his teammate, you watch him put a 40-piece up, and with that, ease, he went to work. He got to the right spots. It almost looked like Kobe Bryant, man. He was doing pull-ups, he was doing everything. And his mentality, that's what I loved about his mentality, is that he never gave up. And it really inspired the rest of the team in that comeback to really push to come back in the game. And then I know we lost on important free throws, but at the end of the day, it's really hard to come back from 27 points.
Yep.
And for us to be in that position, I was already proud of our effort.
Yeah, definitely. Now, those free throws you mentioned, Scotty misses 2 critical free throws, and then Ray eventually misses what would have been a game winner. What was the mood like in the locker room after the contest? I'm sure Scotty was down on himself, being the competitor he is. What were the conversations like, knowing that you came so close to this epic comeback, only to fall a little bit short at the end game?
Our team, we cut out all the negativity. It was really positive in the locker room. We were dapping each other up. Really being positive. Even with Scotty, we'll tell him to keep his head up, and told him that it happens. Not like especially with fatigue, he was playing a lot. So we understood like he was probably like in a different mindset going into that going to the free throw line.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we worked really hard as a team, and so we knew that the window it mattered to us like as a team, but we also knew that we had other tournaments coming up as well. So we had SEA Games, we had the World Cup, because obviously our main focus is the World Cup because that's the most important thing. But yeah, we're going to keep training, improving, and hopefully we can get a win.
9 out of 10 times, if you send Scotty to the free throw line, he's making at least one shot.
Yeah.
It just so happened that maybe that one unfortunate time was in a very critical juncture. Now, moving forward, let's look at the World Cup. The Philippines will be part of the World Cup as a host nation. And at this point, there are about 4 to 5 months of preparation before the games begin, before you go up against the best the world has to offer. Now, we don't know yet who's going to be part of the final roster, who's going to be the naturalized player, who's going to fill up the supporting cast. Do you like your chances possibly making that lineup?
I'd be grateful to make that team. I know there's a lot more players coming back, like Japeth, Kai, Carl. So I know I still have to work on my position, but if that opportunity presents itself, I'm definitely going to take it. It's the World Cup. But where I see myself is I know I can play with them, and that's what I can see as of now.
From a competitive standpoint, so at this point, grade school, high school, college, you're one of the go-to guys of your team, right? Each of you, even for some of them who are in the pros, each of you have gotten used to maybe getting at least 14, 15 shot attempts a night, playing maybe like at least 26, 27 minutes. And then here you are competing for spots in the national team. You're going up against the best of your position for a chance to play like what, maybe 5 minutes? How do you prepare yourself mentally for that? Knowing that your teammates, but at the same time, you're competing for positions and minutes with guys who, like you, are considered the best of the best.
The way I look at it really is I look at it as bigger than myself because it's representing my country, and I'll do whatever it takes to really represent the country, no matter if I'm playing 5 minutes or 27 minutes. Either way, I'm still gonna put in the work, and whatever outcome happens, it happens.
Have you allowed yourself to imagine what would it be like to be on the same court as, hypothetically, a Kevin Durant or LeBron's probably not going to play, but maybe some of the younger stars, or maybe even when you look at the Spanish national team or the French national team, like, who knows, maybe Victor is going to be there, maybe Rudy Gobert, Evan Fournier, and of course, maybe Australia is going to be there too, all over the world, right? Just top-notch basketball players. Have you allowed yourself to envision being in the same court as these guys?
Well, it's every kid's dream, isn't it? Like to play on the same court as NBA players. It'd be crazy if I could experience it. I'd be looking forward to it if I get the chance. But yeah, like to be on the same court as Team USA, for example, if you're versing them, you're versing all your idols that you used to look up to when you were growing up, and to be able to be on the court with them, it'd be crazy.
Right. You have gotten to experience the passion of the Philippine crowd as well. And that has only been for the FIBA Asia window. Now, imagine the World Cup with the whole world watching. Do you feel the Filipino people is ready to represent this country in such a big stage of basketball?
Well, I think so because I feel like they're going to fill up those arenas. Like before, even at the Philippine Arena, the atmosphere was crazy.
Right.
And you can tell from the UAAP as well, atmosphere is always crazy. So when it comes to the World Cup, NBA players bring him here. I'm sure the arenas are going to be packed, and Filipino fans are they're very supportive. So I feel like there are going to be a lot of people there.
So there's something I want to ask you about the World Cup too. Now, last window, the window before the last one, I believe, we had Jordan Clarkson represent the Philippines. And there's no need to expound on Clarkson's abilities as a basketball player. And in this recent window, we got to see what it was like with Brownlee as a naturalized player. Now, after the Lebanon game, the head coach of the Lebanon team, I asked him, what was the difference of the team this time compared to last time when you beat the Philippines? And he acknowledged Clarkson's individual brilliance, but at the same time, he mentioned that with Brownlee, there's more of a team-first approach, right? And we also saw that with Brownlee, he is capable of being an individual who can go off, like you said, in the second half against Jordan. But that sparked, I wouldn't say a debate, but a conversation online of who might be the better fit for the Philippines as a naturalized player. Is it Clarkson or is it Brownlee? Your thoughts as a basketball player, what does each player bring to the table, particularly in the context of Gilas Pilipinas?
In the context of team standpoint, Brownlee, he really gives us that chemistry boost because he's played with a lot of the players here in the PBA. Brownlee is a guy that you can rely on in the clutch, and we've seen that in the past, even with Inebra. See, with Clarkson, he's a scoring machine, so you can't. It's hard to debate. Like obviously, Clarkson's in the NBA, so it's not really the biggest debate you can come up with. Because he's already got that on him. But at the same time, like both are really great players. I've only experienced playing with Brownlee, so I've got good things to say about him. I haven't played with Jordan Clarkson yet, so it's really hard to say at this point, but I know both can really help the team.
Let's say you were the team manager of Gilas and you had to pick a World Cup roster and you only had Brownlee or Clarkson. Are you picking one or the other, or are you abstaining from that choice?
It's at this point, I'd personally pick Brownlee because he's a great teammate as well. I'm not sure how Clarkson is as a teammate yet because I haven't experienced it, but Brownlee, he's really been someone that has helped me through trainings as well. So that's also why he's really the guy that really lifts the team spiritually as well, mentally. He gets us ready for the game. He's always hype, good attitude. He's a good teammate.
He seems like a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. I mean, until you guys start losing by like 25 points, probably. Okay, but we will see over the next few months how this will develop because the excitement is only going to grow from here. And I'm sure you too, whether you'll be playing for the team or you'll be watching from the stands, you can't wait to see what's going to happen.
I'm excited to see what happens, yeah.
Well, you know what else I'm excited to see is your upcoming debut with the Ateneo Blue Eagles. Now, we don't know if we're going to see you in an Ateneo jersey, maybe in a preseason tournament, because over the last few years, Ateneo hasn't joined the D-League or the Philoil. The Blue Eagles have tended to go abroad more and train abroad, right? And you know what? It worked last season, right? So we might see you, who knows, September, October, wearing a Blue Eagles jersey. What's it been like, the training so far leading up to your title defense for season 86?
Oh, well, it's been tiring, but at the same time, I know it's better for me and for the team. We work really hard at training. We rarely get breaks, but you know, we get used to it.
6 times a week.
6 times a week, yeah. It's a lot of training. But with Coach Tab, he pushes us, and that's why Ateneo is really successful as a program, because they train until they can't really train anymore. And I know it's a difficult process leading up to the season, but I know that eventually it'll pay dividends for us.
How's the team bonding? Because obviously Ange is leaving. Ange just left. Davis left. You've got Joseph coming in. You've got some new players coming in as well, like Sean Tuano and a few others, I'm sure. Has that bond or chemistry already developed, or is that something that's still in the works?
I think as a team, our chemistry is it's pretty good. Like we're bonding pretty well now. We're clicking. We've had a couple preseason games. It's worked pretty well so far. I think it's just a matter of playing with the guys a lot more because we still haven't played too much together. And missing Dave, BJ, and Ange, that's a big loss because Ange provides a lot of rebounds, points. Same with Dave and BJ's leadership. So we know that we got 2 co-captains, Sean Kutevis and Chris Kuhn. I'm sure they'll lead us the right way, in the right direction. And really just having a trust in the program and trusting Tab.
You mentioned earlier about playing for Gilas, how it's above yourself, right? You're not just playing for you at this point, you're playing for your country. Do you feel the same sense of pride when you wear that Ateneo jersey, that it's bigger than just you?
Yeah, well, I look at it as with playing for Ateneo, playing for the school and representing the school. Because I went there in high school, and there's nothing better than representing your school in the UAAP. I haven't experienced it yet, but I'm sure it'll be.
You got to watch the finals from the stands last season. You saw how intense the crowds get, the competition, the atmosphere. What are your thoughts about that? Are you anxious? Are you a little worried, or are you excited?
I'm actually excited now, like getting a little hint from it from Gilas, playing in front of a lot of people in the Philippine arena. Um, I got a taste of what it's like. But then with UAP, I know there's drums and stuff, so it's
Right.
all a different atmosphere. But I'm actually more excited now than nervous because I've experienced some sort of atmosphere that has a lot of people. Because I only played in front of more than really 200 people before this,
Right.
and so it's something I need to get used to. I'm sure I can get used to it.
Yeah, playing in front of 22,000, 23,000 people will. Hey, how's your Tagalog coming, by the way? Because you're going to get a lot of Tagalog
Yeah.
trash talk.
Oh well, I know there's a lot of Tagalog trash talk. I'm getting there with my Tagalog, but
Can you give us a preview? Like a trash talk in Tagalog. Are you ready to do that yet?
I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure later on I will. I know there's a lot of trash talk when it comes to the UAP because of the competitiveness. It's part of the game. I'm ready for it. But I just let my game do the talking, and I'm not really the guy to say anything.
Right. Well, we're gonna hear about your Tagalog soon enough, I'm sure. I hope one of my wishes is to have that. You know how like in the NBA there's that mic that's attached to the
Yeah.
players. I hope they do that in the UAP and we can hear you on air say some stuff. I think that would be interesting. Now, going back to back won't be easy. The competition is going to be intense, especially when the margin for error in the UAP is so small, right? UP, even if they've lost Carl, they're still going to be formidable. LaSalle, with their new head coach, all their new recruits, they're going to be maybe not right away. They're going to be a contender, but they're going to work themselves towards that. And of course, NU was on the rise last year. Jerome's coming back, and Adamson. UST seems like they're in the rebuilding stages. UE almost beat Ateneo last season in that second game that went to overtime, I believe. And of course, FEU's there. So the parity, I think, in the UAP has really expanded over the last few seasons. Personally, for you, who are some of the teams that you think will be the biggest obstacles in your quest to repeat as champions?
Of course, UP. UP is probably the number one team that we're kind of looking out for. And obviously LaSalle, like we know Coach Topex is a really good coach, and how he can get his boys working. But we're really just focusing one game at a time, like when it comes to it, because we know that any team can beat anyone in the UAP, no matter how good your team is. Because we know that teams can come out of nowhere, and upsets are a thing. We saw that with LaSalle. Like a lot of people thought LaSalle would make the top four, and then they had one loss, and it really changed their outcome. Like even for us, we were fortunate to even make the finals last year because we weren't the favorites last year. Because I know that UP, they were very tough last year. They're going to be tough again this year. We know that for sure. But I feel like our guys and our group that we have this year, I feel like we could still try and defend the title.
Now with UP, there's something I want to bring up. Arguably okay, first of all, I have to say the UAAP recruitment news during the off season has become like NBA free agency in terms of people and fans and supporters is on their phones refreshing social media. I mean, there are times when I get like random messages from people. Where's this guy going? Tell me who's going to this school, this and that. And I would say that arguably the biggest off-season move in the UAP was when Francis Lebron Lopez, who it seemed like was going to Ateneo, returned to Ateneo, makes the surprising move to join the UP Fighting Maroons instead. Now, you and Francis are friends. That I know for sure. And what surprised me after that decision was how some users on social media, now this is social media, so really anything happens there, right? Tried to pit, okay, it's Mason versus Francis. Someone even tweeted, I think, okay, don't worry, Mason will take care of Francis. It's okay if we don't have Francis because Mason is there anyway. But what people don't really realize is that no matter what schools you players play for, you support each other no matter what. And so take us through what you felt or the conversations you had with Francis after it came out that he was joining UP instead of sticking it out with Ateneo?
Well, I supported his decision at first because I know that at the end of the day, like whatever decision he makes is the best decision for him, and I wasn't gonna hold any grudges on it because yeah, I'm good friends with him off the court. That's not gonna change. So I know there's a lot of different views, people, perspectives, and everything on social media, but I'm not really paying attention to it because I know at the end of the day, like basketball can be a business too. Um, it depends. Like I know some schools support different players better um, than others. So at the end of the day, like I'm supportive of his decision. Um, I know I'm looking forward to versing him too because friends versus friends. Like
Right.
it's like I know it's a rivalry school, but being competitive, that's what basketball's about, and I'm excited for it.
Awesome. That's great to hear, of course. And I'm excited to see what happens when you and Francis get switched on each other to play. I mean, how do you think that's gonna go?
Oh well, we play differently, so we have to wait and see.
You gonna try to make sure he doesn't get off his feet and get an easy dunk attempt?
Hey, well, I know he's got the athleticism, but I feel like I got the edge when it comes to shooting.
All right, that's gonna be interesting. Okay, before I let you go here, Mason, again, UAP is a few months away, but give us a rough prediction of your first season with the Blue Eagles and how you think the team's gonna do.
I think with the first season coming up together as a team, I think that we can make a strong start. I know we've got new faces coming in, so it's just a matter of how we train together and getting that chemistry up. Because I know that a lot of players they're used to playing, like in the States, a lot of the Phil-Ams are used to playing like 40 minutes, taking all their shots really and all that. But I'm sure Coach Tab will help us take care of it.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mason Amos. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.